Hey YouTube, my name's Nick James and I'm going to be teaching you John Mayer's top piece of advice for mixing major and minor pentatonic. So what I was playing there was a 12-bar blues in C, and we were using C dominant 7, going to, after 4 bars, F dominant 7, and then back to C dominant 7, then up to G dominant 7, down to F dominant 7, then back to the 1C, and then ending on the 5 G dominant 7. And you know, the key to soloing, in my opinion, is being able to highlight the chord changes. So this 12-bar blues only has 3 chords in it, so it's not overly complicated. And you know, the number one thing that I struggled with for a long time is I thought there was a one size fits all, to where if I had C dominant 7, I would just play the C major scale and that would cover, you know, all 3 chords, because technically the F chord, the G chord, has all the notes that come out of C major. But I was wrong, because when we play a 12-bar blues, F dominant 7 actually has an E flat in it. And, you know, C major's chord has E major, or E, not E flat. It has a major third, not a minor third. So that is your cue to potentially add the C minor pentatonic. So when I was playing over this C major, or C dominant 7, I was playing that E chord, or E note, that major third. But then when I went to this F dominant 7, I actually used this minor pentatonic for C. And then when I went back to C, I used the C major pentatonic. And then when I went up to G7, I used the G minor. And then when I went to F, back to the C minor pentatonic. So John Mayer's lesson on this kind of talks about this same pentatonic shape we all learn when we start playing guitar. And it's mostly associated with like blues. If you're playing a C dominant 7, you could play C minor pentatonic with the blue note. But this exercise I'm going to give you actually is going to use the C major pentatonic in this hand position. And then we're going to use this kind of equator concept that John talks about, where instead of, you know, looking at this 8th fret for the C minor pentatonic as, you know, kind of the stopping point where we just really don't explore anything behind that equator. Usually when you're learning, you know, the pentatonic, you'll learn this minor pentatonic, but then you'll just go up from there. But there is a C minor pentatonic right below, and it looks something like this. So if I were to play just an easy riff, you know, that everybody probably knows, starting on C, and we're going to make it C major. You could see when I changed to that F, or the 4 chord, I started playing the C minor pentatonic shape. starting on F. And then when I go back to the 1 C, start on C. And then now go to the 5. And this is going to help us just learn how to play over the changes that much easier, because we're using the pentatonic shape that we all know, and this is C major. But then we're also mixing in C minor when we play the 4 chord, the F dominant 7. And then lastly, when we go to the 5, we could play either, a G minor pentatonic, or we could play G, I hate to use Mixolydian, but G dominant 7 as the scale, where we're highlighting the major third of G. 1, 2, major third, and then hitting that F to highlight the dominant 7, the flat 7. And then when we go back to the 4 chord F, we could go back to that C minor pentatonic. And, to really do this exercise, use the entire scale. So once you're comfortable kind of on these top strings or the lower strings, move down to the next C, which is on the 5th fret of the G string. And you could do that same riff. And you could then go right to that 4 chord, playing C minor pentatonic, and then back to the 1. Now to the 5. And you can hear the chord changes when I'm playing through these kind of easy little riffs using the C major pentatonic, C minor pentatonic, and then the 5 I could either use the G minor pentatonic or G dominant 7, where I'm using that flat 7, the F. And, this kind of concept really opens up the fretboard, because now I'm able to see and play the different chord changes without using the same exact scale shape. So I no longer have to rely on and play the same licks if I wanted to jump from C major to C minor pentatonic. Now I know it kind of all in one hand position. So, this is kind of an intermediate lesson. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense initially. Just trust the process and kind of follow my lead, where I'm playing this C major pentatonic for 4 bars. Now we're going to the F, or the 4 chord, so we're going to start on F, but we're going to play C minor pentatonic. to the 1. Now to the 5. That way we're going to ease our way off of using that same pentatonic shape with the same licks that we come up with and start coming up with some new stuff. Thanks for watching this lesson. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you like these videos, go ahead and subscribe, and thanks for watching.